Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here to introduce Carrie Holt, the Director of Education Solutions from IPC Global, as she will be presenting why data must be the foundation of your strategic plan. Carrie, I'm going to pass it over to you to get us started.
Hello. IPC Global partners with Qlik to help school district leaders and state agencies throughout the U.S. with data and analytics solutions. In this presentation, I will discuss why data must be the foundation of your school district strategic planning. Data is required to understand current state, set appropriate goals, take action, and measure results. But first, it must be accessible and easy to understand. Today, many school district leaders are overwhelmed with data. This data-rich environment gives you access to student test scores, grades, attendance, discipline information, course transcripts, program participation, academic interventions, graduation, operational, financial, and budgeting data, as well as human resources information. But school district leaders must take steps to promote and ensure the effective use of their data. One superintendent stated that his team spent most of their time collecting data and preparing reports, but very little time on what to actually do with that information. Most teams are overwhelmed with data because it's not presented in a way that allows them to understand problems. When I first started working for a superintendent at a large urban school district, we were shocked that we could not find answers to simple operational data questions. The data was collected somewhere, but it was not available. Simple questions such as how many 7th grade math teachers do we need to hire? Or what is the teacher attendance rate at our struggling schools compared to schools with high student performance were not available. Sometimes I was told that no one had ever asked that question before, and frequently I was told that the report did not exist. If I did get the data, it was weeks later, and usually was very hard to understand. We learned that rather than rely on data, the previous administration had leveraged intuition and experience to make decisions. This method can lead to random acts of improvement, but will never lead to significant change. Then there's the flip side of this problem. Data can be manipulated, misinterpreted, or just wrong. There are so many headlines regarding data disasters. Some of the problems have to do with collection practices, policies that allow manipulation, governance and security issues, and administration under huge pressure to show positive change. In order to have data as a strong foundation that you can rely on, you must invest in data solutions. This includes systems such as your student information solutions that collect the right data accurately. Data must be available over long periods of time in order to see trends, so you must store large amounts of data. You must have strong data analysis tools in order to gain the insights required to take action. And you must have staff that are qualified to produce the reports that you need. And you need solutions that can monitor staff for improper behavior and data to ensure the information is not to be manipulated. All of this requires funding for IT and oversight to ensure that those IT dollars are spent doing the right things. Data can support school district leadership with very important information. Can measure student progress, ensure that students don't fall through the cracks, measure program effectiveness, assess instructional effectiveness, guide curriculum development, allocate resources wisely, promote accountability, show trends, and uncover insights. But it can be very overwhelming. In one school district, there were 26 million attendance records created each year. Much of the data is held in silos managed by different people, and it can be very hard to get to. Data guides the action of the district and school district leaders in improving the system. I've seen this statement in many different forms in almost every school district. It's usually somewhere in the strategic plan associated with the concept of continuous improvement. The reality is this rarely is working as intended. One of the most important discussions that I have with school district leaders revolves around these issues. Do you know what questions to ask in order to determine if a program for which some district administrator is seeking funding will work? What data is required to answer those questions so that you can decide if funding should be allocated from somewhere else? Once you have allocated funding to a program, what data should be monitored to determine if it's working? Can you get the data? Is it even the right data to answer your questions? Can you trust it? Is the data available in a timely fashion, or is it after the fact? When you do get the data, do you understand it? Can you gain insights so you can make a decision? Once you have gained an insight, can you use the data to convince others that a change is required? Do you have data that helps you confirm district priorities and goals? These are the questions that must be asked for a leadership team to be effective. Strong Data Solutions provides these answers. In order to be effective, school district leaders must first focus on data as the foundation of the strategic plan. Once systems are in place that can answer these questions, leadership can be effective because they have access to the right data and at the right time. They can trust and understand their data. Data is presented to them in a way that allows them to gain insights, and ultimately they can leverage that data to implement positive change. The school district leadership teams that I work with all face similar problems. They are continuously frustrated by the administration's inability to accurately answer relevant questions in real time. They've had it with not being able to trust their information, especially when sharing it with the media or community. They're struggling to achieve equitable access to effective instruction and to get proportionate discipline right. They're stressed about the lack of accurate indicators that best identify kids that are at risk of failing to graduate college or career ready and are unsure about which issues require focus. They're frustrated by answers being out of reach because data is unavailable, slow, wrong, and hard to understand. They need absolute confidence when making very difficult decisions required during tight budgetary times. They're seeking to improve student outcomes, but lack a holistic view of the situation because data is a mess. They constantly struggle to fill vacant positions with highly qualified candidates. They're tired of not seeing results because they're implementing ineffective solutions and interventions, especially when oversight from grants or state agencies is involved. With the correct data solutions and a focus on data as part of your strategic plan, all of these issues can be addressed. Let me show you some examples of what strong data solutions might look like. I'm sure you've seen your fair share of school district budget reports. How hard is it to make sense of what the reports convey? There's so much data, many of the insights are usually lost in the minutiae. With better data systems and detailed analysis tools, those insights are easy to find and understand. If school districts have a product, it is creating college and career-ready graduates. Better analysis of this data can show you where students are not as prepared as they should be and can even identify students that are at risk so that interventions can take place before it's too late. Once you have identified at-risk students and interventions have occurred, you can leverage data to ensure that those interventions are having the desired outcomes, and if not, press for change. It may be that the classic interventions that are being utilized do not work and new policies need to be considered. Not all schools attract highly qualified staff. Many times the best staff and instructors are not at the schools where they are needed at the most. Great data systems can show you where students do not have equitable access to effective instructions. With this knowledge, district leaders can plan solutions that entice highly qualified staff to go where they are needed the most. Many campus leaders have biases that they don't understand. For example, a principal may be harder on boys than girls, or a Hispanic principal may be more comfortable disciplining Hispanic students. Having a system that allows these biases to come to light allows district leadership to ensure that discipline is handled proportionally. School district administration often have access to data that may not be available to the school board or other administrators except through a request process. Providing data solutions that are secure and only allow access as appropriate based on leadership roles can provide administrator and school district leadership access to information in real time so that questions can be asked and answered as they come up. This ability for board transparency allows school district leaders to understand current status of a problem and form the right questions. Many school districts face 15 to 20% turnover every year. Regardless of the turnover rates you experience, filling positions in a timely manner with the most highly qualified staff available is critical to success. Vacancy tracking systems can help to predict where the highest needs will be, can identify the best fit candidates, and show where HR staff struggle. Most of the school district leadership teams that I work with agree that strong data solutions are required in order to be successful. But one concern always comes up: will they use it? This graphic shows the use of a complex data system by the most frequent users for the week of April a few years ago. My job was to create custom reports and answer data questions, so it shouldn't surprise you that I was the top user. But what might surprise you is that those users noted with an orange arrow are school board members, and the yellow arrow is the superintendent. When a solution is designed correctly and provides users with the data that they need, it gets used extensively. As your school district leadership considers district planning and strategies, it is critical that you remember that data must be the foundation of your strategic plan. In order to be effective, you must identify the data required for decision making and acquire that data at the right time. You must be able to trust your data. With the right solutions, you can interpret and understand your data, and that will lead to insights that allow you to act, leveraging your data for success. Once you have taken action, measuring results is critical to ensure that your actions have the desired outcomes. We at IPC Global and Qlik can facilitate leadership training as well as work with your staff in IT to help you solve data issues so that your foundation is strong enough to support success. Please let us know how we can help. Thanks for your time, and we wish you the best.